for the last concept in this chapter, that is events in sexual reproduction. So before going to study the events in sexual reproduction, we'll study what is sexual reproduction. Already we have differentiated asexual and sexual reproduction. That is what happens in sexual reproduction. There will be involvement of both the parents, and what happens, there is fusion of gametes which give rise to the new organisms, right? So what happens, first of all, to fuse the gametes should be produced. Okay, so first what happens, the two different gametes are produced. Okay, so one is female gamete and male gamete. After what happens, this female and male gametes fuse together. This step we call it as fertilization. Okay, fusion of male and female gamete is called as fertilization, and what happens, they form zygote. Okay, so one more thing, so what will be the ploidy of this gametes? Gametes are actually haploid in nature, that is n in number. When they fuse together, the formed zygote are diploid in nature, that is 2n. Next, from the zygote, the embryo is formed. So this process we call it as embryogenesis. Okay, embryogenesis. After embryo, yes, organs are formed. The fetus get structurized and they form new organism. Okay, diploid and yes, the diploid individual. Okay, so during the formation of gametes, what happens, it should be formed by the female individual and the male individual. We know the female individual is always diploid, male individual is always diploid. To form the haploid set of chromosomes in a gametes, they undergo what kind of cell division? Meiosis. Remember, reductional division, 2n to n. So when an individual try to form the gametes, when in individual, so if there is a production of gametes, the gametes are produced by the division undergoing meiosis. Because an individual, like example in human beings only, we individuals are diploid natured. Okay, we got complete set of chromosomes. But during the gametogenesis, means gamete production, what we do? We undergo meiosis. Okay, in the respective sex organs, that is testis and ovary, there will be production of egg and sperm by undergoing reductional division, that is meiosis. Henceforth, the 2n number of cell is reduced into n number of gametes. Okay, those gametes, when they fuse together by undergoing the process called fertilization, what happens? Zygote formation. After zygote is also diploid in nature, but there is a genetic recombination. Both the genetic makeup of egg and sperm is different. When they recombined, the zygote consists of recombined genetic makeup of both from the female and male individuals. So they form embryo. Then embryo will give rise to a new organisms. So this is what the sexual reproduction in outline, like in a brief account. So based on the events on fertilization, okay, based on the events on fertilization, the sexual reproduction stages or events are classified into, from the production of gamete before the fusion, this step we call it as pre-fertilization event, and this is itself called as fertilization event. And after fertilization, from the zygote formation till the new individual or new organism's development, the event called as post fertilization event. So hence the events or stages of sexual reproduction is classified into 3 different events or 3 different steps. So the first one is a pre-fertilization event, fertilization event and post-fertilization event. So what happens before the fertilization and after the fertilization, what all the things are happened. So hence we can say the sexual reproduction is the complicated process and also a slow process. Okay, yes. So we'll go to the events one by one in depth, in detail we'll study. Okay. Okay. So before going to the events one by one, I would like to explain you the concept called sexuality in organisms. Okay, so how we can identify the different sexes in organisms or in individuals, how we can say it is a male and female gamete. Okay, as we have said, we have written the previous flow chart that from the male individual male gametes are formed, female individual female gametes are formed, and how this the sex organs are reproductive like parts are arranged in plants as well as in animals. Okay, this is what we call it as sexuality in organisms. Okay, first we'll take up with the plants and same thing will be related to the animals. Okay, now I'm talking about flower, not the plant. Okay, just remember, first I'll deal with the flower, then I'll go to a plant. Okay, the first condition, just consider one flower which contains both female and male reproductive part. Okay, a flower which contain both male and female and male reproductive part, such a flower we call it as bisexual flower. So what happens? What do you mean by bisexual flower? A flower contains both male and female reproductive part. Okay, so that we call it as bisexual flower. So examples for bisexual flowers are hibiscus. Okay, we can write coconut. Okay, in the same way, next condition, if okay, one flower either contain male or female reproductive part, a flower containing either male or female reproductive part are called as unisexual flower, and separately it is called as, if a flower contains, okay, here we can write or, either male or female. Okay, if a flower contain male reproductive part, then the flower we call it as staminate flower. Okay, if a flower contain female reproductive part, then the flower called as pistillate flower, and these are commonly called as unisexual, means a flower either contain male or female reproductive part. If it contains a male reproductive part, Or what is the male reproductive part in flowers? That is stamen, right? Hence it is called as staminate. If a flower contains female reproductive part, what is it? Pistil, carpel, gynoecium, right? So hence it is called as pistillate. And the flower commonly called as unisexual flowers. And the examples are papaya or date palm. Dates and papaya are the example for unisexual flowers. And yes, bisexual flowers are hibiscus. Okay, now we'll deal with plant. This is a flower. Okay, now next condition is, okay, plant. Okay, consist of, yes, the plant consists of both, okay, staminate or pistillate flower, like the plant consists of bisexual flowers. Such a plant we call them as monoecious plant. Means the plant which contains flowers of what? Yes, yeah, both reproductive parts. Means bisexual, what we have explained, the one which contains the flower which contains both the sex organs. And those bisexual flowers, if they are present in a plant, then such plant are called as monoecious. Okay, like example, this is a plant structure. These are leaves. Just imagine these are leaves, and they contain flower which contains both female and male. This is what? Bisexual. Or this condition is also explained in a single plant. Okay, if they contain staminate flower or pistillate flower, this also called as what? Monoecious. Means in a single plant, yes, in a single plant, both the kinds of flowers. Okay, so next condition, if a plant consists, okay, of unisexual flower, that is either pistillate or staminate, not both, either one. Like example, this we call it as dioecious plant. Okay, let me explain you. This is a plant. Okay, just imagine two plants. One plant contain female flower, one plant contain male flower. So this is now called as dioecious plant. A plant, yes, there are two houses for different flowers. So di means two different, okay, they are present in two different plants. But here what happens, one condition, okay, they contain even bisexual flowers also, unisexual flowers also. But here what happens, in such plants both the flowers are present in the same plant. But here what happens, in dioecious plant, one plant either they present male or female. Understood? This is what the sexuality in what? Yes, plants. So what we can say, bisexual or monoecious, unisexual or dioecious. Unisexual flower, dioecious plant; bisexual flower, monoecious plant. And one more concept about in a plant, especially in some bryophytes as well as fungi, that is concept of Homothalic and heterothalic. Thalic means thallus. Okay. The same thallus where both organs are present, different thallus they are present in, different reproductive organs they are present in different thallus. Hence it is called as heterothalic, homothalic. Homothalic means same thallus, single thallus where both the reproductive parts are there. Heterothallus means two thallus, each thallus contains any one reproductive organ or part. Okay, just compare these with our bisexual or unisexual. So what we can say, our bisexual, monocarpic, homothalic are same. Unisexual, dioecious plant, heterothalic are same. Okay, different thallus, different organs are present or parts. So understood, this is what the sexuality of, yes, organisms in plants. So next, same thing happens in animals also. If an organism contain both the sex organ, such organisms are called as bisexual animals. The animal which contains both the sex, okay, or in animals it is called as hermaphrodites. You remembered, I guess, while writing Animal Kingdom, we have written like this, united sexes. Okay, this means the same individual contain both the sex organs. Okay, that is bisexual animal. Next, in an animal, they may present female or male. Okay, either the organism contain male organ or female organ. This we call it as unisexual animals. That is, so here we can give example. Okay, earthworm, tapeworm, leech, where their sexes are united, means they contain both the sex. For unisexual, all higher organism except these, okay, like humans, lower organisms like cockroaches, frogs, okay, all are unisexual, means either they contain male or female sex organs. Okay, so this is what the sexuality in organisms.